right, let's get serious here and go to Shelley in New Hampshire. Then we're going to go to Karen, James, Anthony. Oh, Keith's been holding a long time, too. Shelley in New Hampshire, thanks for holding her on the air.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. First-time caller. I've been listening for about a couple years.
Well, thank you.
Had a question about the 9/11 conspiracy and the 28 pages, and wondering if the 28 pages will reveal if there was actually a physical plane that crashed into Pennsylvania, and if there were actually people who were making those cell phone calls that is, cannot be done. Who was making those let's roll calls, and where is the physical plane? I'm wondering if that will be revealed in the 28 pages.
Sure. Okay, put her on hold. This will take a couple of minutes. Let me try to really crystallize this. To understand 9/11, I have to explain it to you from my perspective. I learned that the establishment wanted us to debate all the anomalies and all the problems so they could confuse the public and then say, which conspiracy is it, because it's such a big mess. A whole bunch of FBI agents, it's on record, I made films about it. You can go back and pull the articles up if you're a new listener. But most people remember this. FBI agents from Texas to Arizona to Minnesota to Illinois to Florida to California, New York, you name it, said they were ordered to not follow the hijackers and ordered to not stop them. The head of the visa section told Springman, who'd been the previous head, that they were ordered to stand down and let them get fake passports or use their fake passports to get back into the U.S. and were told they were actually working for the CIA. That's Mohammed Atta and the other 15 of the 19 hijackers out of Saudi Arabia. The other 4 came from other countries, Yemen and a few others. So that alone, there's a cover-up, the door's open, they're bringing them in. You get into bombs in Tower 1 and 2, in 7, absolutely. We don't know who did it. You get NORAD stand down. You get the happy hooligans. I mean, I talked to a retired Army colonel who was dead 1 week after he came on my show. Colonel Don de Grand Prix. And he said, who did it? That 2 AIM-9s were shot into Flight 93. That stuff came out like a decade later. I called him up a week later, get him back on. They said the colonel died of a heart attack last night. Famous arms runner for the CIA, you name it. Huge, huge spook, guys, huge. He was not going to be part of it. He came on and said, I met day after it happened with all these top retired generals, and they called their sources, and it was the happy hooligans. They had a secret reward ceremony giving them medals just a few days after, and they wouldn't refuse the order and shot it down. You could go on and on and on and on with 9/11. The whole thing is a black hole of lies. I mean, I made 6, 7 films on it, wrote books on the subject. It's ridiculous. But we know there was a stand down. The former head of transportation, Panetta, said he saw the order happen in the bunker. Cheney then ran to Side R. Bush was running around scared at bunkers. He from witnesses I know that were there with him, he seemed scared legitimately. That's why I say it was just a puppet. Saudi Arabia had controlled the 15. The FBI was ordered not to stop them. Whatever, once they got on the planes, we don't know. There were planes landing at NASA bases and planes taking off. Warren Buffett, for months, said, I'm going to have a very special meeting at this Air Force base in Nebraska. He had over several hundred top CEOs and leaders, thousands of people total, in a hangar with a big, giant movie screen with messages from the White House. That came out in the news after, but they wouldn't say what it was. They were in the hangar before it happened. And the word is they told him, this is national security. We wanted to protect you and make sure you weren't in New York. Then they questioned him, and it was in mainstream news that the Pentagon canceled all these trips the day before to New York. See, they had a big secret government meeting on COG happening in New York, except for 9/11. Then the conspirators went to people and said, the terrorists have learned of it. They may strike us tomorrow. They then got them all out in Nebraska to be part of the conspiracy to feel safe when they're actually meeting with the people that did it. Now, that's as best I can break it down with tens of thousands of data points. Nobody studied it like I have, folks. I'm not bragging. It's just day one. I told you 2 months before it was coming, they were going to blow up the World Trade Center, blame it on bin Laden. I got all this news and loaded calls. It's just hard to get into. So you notice the last 6-7 years since I got more sophisticated, I don't really get into all the minutiae. I mean, I cover it. I get into Building 7. I talk about a lot of the subjects, but we're meant to get lost in all that. Here's the deal. There was a congressional report in the first year after the event that found that Saudi Arabia ran the attacks. There was a NORAD-ordered stand-down from the White House, and that the Clintons and the Bushes were involved in it. And there was ongoing cover-up since then. That's enough to lock all these people up, open the investigation up, and then we learn everything. I have a pretty good idea of exactly what they did, but I'm not going to sit there and speculate on it, okay? Now, separately, the media confuses that and goes, can you believe Jones? He says the New York Fire Department blew the towers up, and he says that there is no radical Islam. The fire department were patriots, heroes. They're the ones that exposed it was an inside job from the ground. The police weren't involved. They were heroes. They exposed it. I've interviewed firefighters, police chiefs, deputy emergency managers' heads. I had Barry Jennings on, and 1 week after he was on, he was deader than a hammer. D.C. Madam, month after, deader than a hammer. You want me to really sit here and talk about deader than a hammer with you all day long? This is a spy movie you're watching in real time. They're just afraid to kill me to make me a martyr. And it ruins their fun, because they've done an analysis and an assessment on me, and they know exactly where I'm coming from. Let's just say I ruin all the fun. Not just in that I don't care what they do to me because I'm committed to the truth. They know I ruin all the fun from so many angles. Because I didn't come into this as some government operative or some super spy or some Superman. But over the years, not connections, not things I'm doing, not people I'm talking to, it's an unwritten conspiracy against evil. It's a sync. It's a click. It's an understanding with all these other people in government, in corporations, in other governments that don't like what happened and know what's happening as well. So I become a focal point of the knowledge and the understanding and a figurehead, a tarot card, an archetype, a logo, a symbol, a maxim, a standard, a fulcrum, a shield, a sword, a weapon. And what do you do to a weapon like this when you crush it? I'll use a cheesy comic book analogy. What happens when you attack Doomsday, huh? What happens when you do that? You just make me 100 times stronger each time. The enemy knows that. They understand the metaphysical rules. You don't think I'm naive. They have the Austin Police Department and the FBI watching out for my safety because they love me so much. They don't want me dead because of the chain reactions it could create. And I don't want to get off into all this, but to talk about 9/11 is to talk about myself, because I've been in this since the very beginning. The public can't handle the full truth of 9/11 because it's not all sussed out and we don't know all the exact details. But we know there was a stand down. We know Saudi Arabia ran it. We know that we then attacked Iraq, arch enemies with them, and that was a war crime. And so we're this close to the 28 pages coming out. We've already had Jones and others talk about what's in it. It confirms Panetta and others stand down order. It confirms it all. It's the beginning of the end, and it's just one symbol of their fall, because they've been killing and arresting and persecuting whistleblowers for about 10 years really bad. It's gotten really bad under Obama, but it was happening under Bush there at the end. Those guys are puppets. The decision was made in about 2006 to start really going after people. It hasn't worked. More people are just saying, you know what, I'm done. I'm going public, or I'm leaking this information. And that's why they want to go ahead and just have a civil war in this country, is because they want to get fellow Americans of every race, color, and creed killing each other and thinking local government and local cops or a random FBI agent or a random ATF agent or a random person in a government building is your enemy, and as if you're going to stop the New World Order going with a rifle and shooting some people at the IRS. No, you're not. Don't do it. You couldn't do something worse to help the enemy. We are interfacing with everybody in the government. We're interfacing with the corporations. We're interfacing with the CEOs. We're interfacing with the foreign leaders. We're interfacing with the truth. And nothing on earth can stop it, and everybody knows that. So all they can hope for is a huge war, a huge civil war, a huge collapse that they hope diverts everybody. That's not going to work either. So the globalists are kind of hesitating. They don't know what to do. They pulled a lot of really nasty tricks, but it's not working. They're like, sir, we've only got a few other options, and they're super dangerous too. We recommend you don't do this. And the elite go, but we're stuck. We're already losing. We're telling you don't do it. And they're going, we've always been in control because we're bold. Go ahead with these plans. They're like, don't do it. You don't have the momentum. You don't have the people. Don't do it. But let me tell you, they're telling the elite, don't do it. Don't set off the nuke in New York. Don't set it off in Chicago. Don't set it off in Dallas. Don't set it off in Austin. I'm listing targets here, folks. Do not sit there and think they don't know. We are in a death battle with these people. And the elite are saying they're getting their hands around our neck. What do we do? And their experts are going, I just try to hope, just leave them alone, hope they turn loose. We're not turning loose, and you know that, because you're not turning loose either. You may consciously be trying to turn loose of us, but you're like a centipede. All your other feet and stingers are in our guts attacking us. You understand? You brought the fight. You attacked us. You want one. You're going to get one. You understand that? It's a spiritual law. And I'm only one part of the manifestation of that law. We're coming. And a lot of people can't handle this. Well, you know what? This planet's real. This struggle's real. Humanity's real. Free will's real. The spirit's real. And destiny's real. So nobody should be bored right now, because this is a historic time. So, Shelley, I don't know how to answer your question about 28 pages. It's known what's in them. It's been leaked. It's devastating info. That's the big domino. You knock that, all the others fall.
Yeah, no, I get the gist of it, and you're right. It's not worth, hashing up the details, because it's the bigger picture. So I get it.
Well, I'm here to tell you the proudest thing I am is you can debate anything you want, but 2 months before 9/11, on the day of 9/11, Alex Jones hit that domino. Boom. That would have made my life worthwhile right there for humanity. I earned my bones up one side and down the other on that day. Everything else after that's just gravy before my God. So all my sins, and believe me, there are plenty of them, I feel good at the final equation. Ma'am, what are you going to do to try to expose these monsters, Shelley?
Hey, listen, I work every day at doing it. I spread the word every day to people about your show, about vaccines, every day. So
you're a sweetheart, and God bless you. And I tell you, there's a lot better souls out there than I. When I talk about myself, it's because it's the journey I've had. You are the leaders. You are the future. You are unstoppable. My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only 2 ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with Nascent Iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent Iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of Nascent Iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Nascent Iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality Nascent Iodine today at InfoWars.